I, Michael, stand at the threshold of our bedroom, a ticket to the art exhibition my wife Jessica attended, clutched in my hand. The room feels unusually cold, despite the warm summer evening. The silence is heavy, almost palpable, as if it were holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable storm. My mind races, replaying the events of the past few days, searching for missed signs and overlooked clues. The ticket itself seems innocent enough, a simple piece of paper with the event's details printed in bold, artistic fonts. But now it feels like a key to a door I had never intended to open. Jessica's laughter echoes in my memory, her eyes sparkling with excitement when she first told me about the exhibition. She had been so eager, so alive, more than I had seen her in months. It was as if the art had breathed new life into her, and I had been genuinely happy for her. But tonight, that happiness is tainted with a gnawing doubt. Jessica isn't home yet. She had called earlier saying she would be late, caught up in the world of colors and canvases. It wasn't unusual for her to lose track of time when surrounded by art, but something in her voice had struck me as off. A hint of something I couldn't quite place. A tremor, perhaps, or a note of guilt. As I stare at the ticket, I can't shake the feeling that it's more than just an entry pass. It's a symbol of something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface of our seemingly perfect life. My heart pounds in my chest, each beat a question that demands an answer. What has changed? What have I missed? The bedroom door creaks slightly as I push it open, the soft light from the hallway spilling into the darkness. I take a deep breath, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on me. The ticket trembles in my hand, a silent testament to the evening's revelations. I need to know the truth, even if it shatters the illusion we've built together. With a final resolute step, I cross the threshold, ready to face whatever lies ahead. Jessica and I have been married for 10 years. From the very beginning, her passion for art was a defining feature of our relationship. She had a natural talent, a keen eye for beauty that translated into everything she touched. Our home was a gallery of her creativity. Paintings, sculptures, and sketches filled every corner, each piece a testament to her boundless imagination. I've always admired Jessica's dedication to her craft. Art was not just a hobby for her, it was a way of life. She could spend hours lost in her studio, working on a new piece, her brow furrowed in concentration, her hands stained with paint. I loved watching her in those moments, seeing the intensity and joy she found in creating something beautiful. As for me, I was more practical. My job in finance kept me grounded in numbers and spreadsheets, a stark contrast to Jessica's world of colors and shapes. But I supported her passion wholeheartedly. I attended every exhibition, helped set up her art shows, and encouraged her to pursue new opportunities. I took pride in being her biggest fan, always ready to lend a hand or a listening ear. Our lives had intertwined seamlessly, balancing each other out. Jessica's art brought vibrancy and spontaneity to our home, while I provided stability and support. We were a team, navigating the ups and downs of life together. Our relationship wasn't perfect, no relationship is, but we had built a strong foundation based on love, trust, and mutual respect. Over the years, we faced our share of challenges, but art was always a constant, a common thread that held us together. I knew how much it meant to Jessica, and I was determined to be there for her, no matter what. Little did I know that her passion, the very thing that brought us closer, would soon become a source of uncertainty and doubt in our lives. Jessica tells me about an upcoming art exhibition she's excited to attend. Her eyes light up as she describes it, a spark of enthusiasm that has been somewhat rare lately. She sits across from me at the kitchen table, her hands animated as she talks about the various artists who will be showcasing their work, the innovative installations, and the interactive exhibits. "I've been following some of these artists for years, Michael," she says, her voice brimming with excitement. "It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see their new pieces in person." I smiled, genuinely happy for her. It's been a while since I've seen her this passionate about something. Jessica's love for art has always been infectious, and I can feel her excitement rubbing off on me. I nod along, asking questions about the exhibition, eager to learn more and share in her enthusiasm. "When is it?" I ask, leaning forward. "Next Saturday," she replies, her eyes sparkling. "I'm planning to spend the whole day there. There's just so much to see, and I don't want to miss a thing." I can't help but feel a swell of pride seeing her like this. Jessica has always been at her best when surrounded by art, It's where she finds inspiration and joy. I encourage her to take her time, to immerse herself fully in the experience. That sounds amazing, Jess, I say, reaching across the table to squeeze her hand. You should go and enjoy yourself. Take lots of pictures and tell me all about it when you get back. She beams at me, her excitement palpable. Thank you, Michael. I will. I can't wait to share it with you. As we continue to talk about the exhibition, I can see the passion in her eyes and the way she comes alive when discussing the world of art. It's moments like these that remind me why I fell in love with her in the first place. Jessica's creativity and zest for life have always been a source of inspiration for me, and I'm glad to see that spark reignited. That evening after the exhibition, Jessica behaves a bit strangely. She's quieter than usual, her mind seemingly elsewhere. As we sit together on the couch, her responses are distracted, her eyes distant. I ask her how the exhibition was, expecting her usual enthusiastic recounting of every detail. Instead, she gives me a vague smile and a few short answers. It was good, she says, her voice lacking its usual vibrancy. There were some really impressive pieces. I try to probe a little more, curious about her experience. Did you get to meet any of the artists you've been following? She nods, but her gaze is fixed on some invisible point beyond the room. Yes, I did. They were all very nice. There's a heavy pause, an unfamiliar tension in the air. I can't shake the feeling that something is off, but I dismiss it as exhaustion. She spent the entire day immersed in art, surrounded by people and stimuli. It's natural for her to be tired and a bit overwhelmed. You seem a bit out of it, I say gently. Are you okay? She blinks as if coming out of a trance, and forces a smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired, I guess. It was a lot to take in. I nod, trying to reassure myself that it's nothing more than fatigue. Why don't you get some rest? We can talk more about it tomorrow. She agrees, and I watch as she heads upstairs to our bedroom, her steps slow and deliberate. Left alone, I can't help but feel a gnawing sense of unease. Jessica has always been animated after events like this, eager to share every detail with me. Tonight, though, she's different, distant, almost detached. I try to shake off the feeling, convincing myself that I'm reading too much into it. She's just tired, I tell myself. She'll be back to her usual self in the morning. But as I sit there in the dim light of our living room, I can't ignore the small seed of doubt that has taken root in my mind. New conversations. In the days that follow, Jessica frequently mentions an artist named Alex, who she met at the exhibition. Her eyes light up whenever she talks about him, a spark of enthusiasm that I haven't seen in a while. Alex's work is just incredible, she says one evening over dinner. He has this unique style, blending traditional techniques with modern themes. It's inspiring. I nod, glad to see her so animated. Sounds like you connected with his art. She smiles, her excitement evident. Yes, and he's such an interesting person too. We had some great conversations about art and life. It's refreshing to meet someone who shares the same passion. As the days pass, Alex's name becomes a regular part of our conversations. Jessica tells me about his latest projects, their discussions on artistic techniques, and the new perspectives he's introduced her to. I listen, genuinely interested in hearing about her experiences, but there's a small, nagging worry at the back of my mind. One evening, as we're sitting on the porch, she mentions Alex again. He's invited me to visit his studio next week. I'm looking forward to seeing his workspace and getting more insights into his process. I try to hide my unease, forcing a smile. That sounds great, Jess. I'm glad you're finding inspiration. She beams at me, her excitement contagious. Thank you, Michael. I think this is exactly what I needed to reignite my creativity. Despite my supportive words, I can't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. Jessica's passion for art has always been something we shared, but now it feels like she's found a new source of inspiration, one that I'm not a part of. I push the thoughts aside, reminding myself that it's good for her to have new influences and connections in the art world. But as Alex's name continues to come up in our conversations, I can't shake the feeling that something deeper is happening. Jessica's excitement is palpable, but there's also a subtle shift in her demeanor, a newfound intensity that I can't quite put my finger on. I try to ignore the growing unease, hoping it's just my imagination running wild. Jessica starts leaving the house more often, explaining that she's meeting up with new artist friends. At first, I'm happy for her, glad that she's found a community that shares her passion. But as the days turn into weeks, her absences become more frequent and extended. "Where are you off to this time?" I ask one Saturday morning as she grabs her bag. "Just meeting Alex and a few others for coffee," she replies, her tone casual. "We're planning a collaborative project." I nod, trying to mask my growing concern. "That sounds interesting. What's the project about?" She smiles, but there's a flicker of something in her eyes. Excitement, maybe, or something more. "It's still in the brainstorming phase, but we're thinking of blending different art forms. I'll tell you more when we have a clearer idea." I watch her leave, a knot of unease tightening in my stomach. Her outings become a pattern. Late nights at the studio, impromptu gallery visits, long afternoons spent in art cafes. Each time she assures me it's all about the art, but I can't help but feel a growing distance between us. One evening, as she's getting ready to go out again, I decide to voice my concerns. "Jess, you've been spending a lot of time with these new friends. Is everything okay?" She pauses, looking at me with a hint of frustration. "Michael, it's just art. I need this for my creativity. You know how important it is to me." "I know," I say softly, "but I miss you. We hardly spend any time together anymore." Her expression softens, and she walks over to give me a quick kiss. "I'm sorry. I'll try to balance things better. I just get so caught up in the excitement." As she leaves, I sit down, feeling a mix of emotions: loneliness, suspicion, and a creeping sense of dread. Jessica's passion for art has always been a part of her, but now it feels like it's pulling her away from me. The frequent outings and her constant mention of Alex gnaw at my mind, and I can't shake the feeling that something is off. The seed of doubt that was planted after the exhibition has grown, and I begin to wonder if there's more to her absences than she's letting on. I begin to notice a change in Jessica's behavior. She becomes more secretive, frequently glued to her phone and leaving the room to take calls. At first, I try to dismiss it as paranoia, convincing myself that there's a perfectly innocent explanation. But as the days go by, my doubts grow harder to ignore. One evening, as we're watching a movie together, her phone buzzes. She glances at the screen and quickly stands up. "I'll be right back," she says, heading to the kitchen. I strain to hear her voice from the other room, but her hushed tones make it impossible to make out any words. When she returns, she offers a brief, unconvincing smile. "Just Alex. He had some ideas for the project." I nod, forcing a smile of my own, but inside my mind is racing. Why does she need to take these calls in private? What's so important that she can't discuss it in front of me? The pattern continues. Jessica's phone is never far from her hand, and she seems to be texting constantly. Whenever I ask who she's talking to, she gives vague answers or brushes it off as work-related. I catch glimpses of her screen, messages from Alex, but nothing incriminating. Still, the secrecy bothers me. One afternoon, as I walk into the living room, she quickly locks her phone and puts it face down on the table. "Who was that?" I ask casually, trying to keep my tone light. "Just a friend," she replies too quickly, not meeting my eyes. "Nothing important." The air between us grows tense, and I can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. I start to question every interaction, every text, every call. I try to tell myself that I'm being paranoid and that I should trust her, but the gnawing suspicion only grows stronger. One night after she's fallen asleep, I find myself staring at her phone, the screen glowing softly in the dark. I resist the urge to pick it up, to go through her messages. I don't want to be that person, the kind who snoops and invades privacy. But the doubt is overwhelming, a constant presence in my mind. Jessica's behavior continues to fuel my suspicions. She's more distant, often lost in thought, and her once open demeanor is now guarded. I feel like I'm losing her, and I don't know how to stop it. The doubts and suspicions are eating away at me, and I fear that our relationship is teetering on the edge of a precipice. One evening, feeling overwhelmed by my suspicions, I decided to talk to my friend John. We meet at our usual spot, a quiet bar downtown. As we settle into our booth, I find it hard to start the conversation, unsure of how to voice my concerns without sounding paranoid. "Hey man, you've been quiet," John says, giving me a concerned look. "Everything all right?" I take a deep breath, staring into my drink. "I don't know, John. Things with Jessica have been, Weird lately. Weird how? He asks, leaning in. I tell him everything. Jessica's frequent outings, her secretive phone calls, and my growing suspicions about her relationship with Alex. John listens intently, nodding occasionally. So, you think she might be seeing this guy, Alex? He asks cautiously. I don't know, I admit, running a hand through my hair. But something doesn't feel right. She's different, distant, and she talks about him all the time. John leans back, contemplating. Look, I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but it sounds like you need to know what's going on. Have you talked to her about your suspicions? Sort of, I say, shrugging. But she just brushes it off, says it's all about the art. I want to believe her, but you can't shake the feeling, he finishes for me. I get it. He pauses, thinking. All right, here's what I think. You need to find out the truth one way or another. Maybe you should. Keep an eye on her. See where she's going, who she's with. It might give you some clarity. I hesitate, not liking the idea of spying on Jessica. I don't know, John. That feels wrong. Like I'm betraying her trust. I get that, he says, nodding. But if she's hiding something, don't you deserve to know? And if it turns out nothing is going on, at least you can put your mind at ease. I sit in silence for a moment, considering his advice. The thought of following Jessica feels invasive, but the uncertainty is eating away at me. John's right. I need to know the truth. All right, I say finally. I'll do it. I'll see where she goes, but I hope I'm just being paranoid. John claps me on the shoulder. You're doing the right thing, Michael. Just be careful, okay? And remember, whatever happens, I'm here for you. I nod, grateful for his support. As we finish our drinks, I feel a mix of determination and dread. The path ahead is uncertain, but I know I need to follow it to find the answers I'm seeking. One night, driven by a restless mind and a gnawing suspicion, I decided to check Jessica's phone. She's in the shower and her phone is on the bedside table, screen dark and tempting. My heart pounds in my chest as I pick it up, feeling a rush of guilt and determination. I unlock the phone with her passcode, which I know from years of trust and intimacy. Navigating to her messages, I find the conversation with Alex. My stomach churns as I start reading through the thread. Their messages are friendly at first, filled with discussions about art and projects. But as I scroll further, the tone shifts. Their exchanges become more personal and more intimate. My breath catches in my throat as I come across messages that leave no room for doubt. Can't wait to see you again, Alex had written just yesterday. I've missed our time together. Jessica's response is immediate and enthusiastic. Me too, Alex. Saturday works for me. Let's meet at our usual spot. I feel a cold knot of dread form in my stomach. Our usual spot? The words reverberate in my mind, their implication clear and devastating. I continue reading, hoping for some explanation that will make everything innocent, but there is none. Their messages are filled with anticipation and familiarity, the kind that comes from spending a lot of time together. The shower turns off, and I hurriedly lock the phone, placing it back exactly where I found it. I move to the living room, my mind racing and my heart heavy. The evidence is undeniable. Jessica and Alex have been meeting regularly, and it's not just about art. When Jessica comes into the room, her hair wet and wrapped in a towel, she gives me a warm smile, but I can't return it. The weight of what I've discovered presses down on me, making it hard to breathe. What's wrong, Michael? She asks, her smile fading as she notices my expression. Nothing, I lie, forcing a weak smile. Just tired. She looks at me for a moment, suspicion flickering in her eyes, but she doesn't press further. As she busies herself with her evening routine, I sit there, grappling with the reality of what I've uncovered. The doubt and suspicion that had plagued me have now transformed into a painful certainty. The moment I've been dreading arrives that evening. I can't carry this burden any longer, and I know I need to confront Jessica about what I've discovered. The weight of the truth feels unbearable, and I need to hear it from her lips. We sit across from each other at the dining table, a silent tension filling the space between us. I can't seem to find the right words, so I take a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. Jessica, I begin, my voice trembling slightly. We need to talk. She looks up from her plate, her eyes wary. What's wrong, Michael? I hesitate, grappling with the emotions swirling inside me. Finally, I muster the courage to speak. I saw your messages with Alex. Her expression changes instantly, surprise, then confusion, followed by a flicker of something I can't quite place. She sets her fork down and looks at me, her face a mask of mixed emotions. Michael, she starts, but I cut her off. I saw everything, I say, my voice firmer now. The messages, the plans to meet. I know about your relationship with him. Jessica's face flushes and she looks away, struggling to find the right words. Michael, I didn't mean for you to find out this way. Then how was I supposed to find out? I ask, frustration seeping into my tone. You've been so secretive. What was I supposed to think? She takes a deep breath, her hands trembling as she reaches for her glass of water. It started innocently enough. We met at the exhibition, and I was just so inspired by his work. We had a few conversations, and then it turned into something more. Something more? I echo, feeling the sting of her words. What does that mean, Jessica? Her eyes meet mine, and for a moment she looks vulnerable. Michael, I never meant for this to happen. Alex and I, we started seeing each other outside of the art world. It became more personal. I didn't know how to tell you. Personal, I repeat, my voice barely above a whisper. You've been having an affair with him. Tears well up in her eyes and she nods slowly, her shoulders slumping in defeat. Yes, I'm so sorry, Michael. It started with our shared passion for art, but it grew into something else. I never wanted to hurt you, but I couldn't stop myself. I sit in stunned silence, the gravity of her confession sinking in. The betrayal feels like a physical blow, a sharp pain that cuts through the trust and love we have built over the years. Why, Jessica? I ask, my voice breaking. Why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you come to me if you were unhappy? I didn't know how, she says, tears streaming down her face. I was afraid of what you'd think, afraid of losing you. I thought I could handle it, that I could keep it separate from our life. But it got out of control. I feel a deep, overwhelming sadness. The woman I had trusted and loved has been hiding something from me. And it's not just about the affair. It's about the entire foundation of our relationship being questioned. I don't know what to say, I finally manage, my voice filled with anguish. How do we move past this? Jessica reaches out, but I pull away, unable to process the emotions flooding through me. Michael, please, she pleads. I want to fix this. I want to make things right. Make things right? I repeat, the bitterness in my voice unmistakable. I don't know if that's possible. I need time to think. Jessica nods, her face etched with regret and sorrow. I understand. Take all the time you need. As I stand up and walk away, the room feels cold and distant. The path ahead is unclear, and the trust we once had is shattered. I don't know if we can rebuild what's been broken, but for now, I need to find a way to come to terms with the painful truth. The days following the confrontation are some of the hardest of my life. Jessica and I try to navigate the wreckage of our relationship, but it quickly becomes clear that the damage is too severe. Her departure is both swift and heart-wrenching, leaving me in a state of shock and disbelief. One morning, as I'm sitting at the kitchen table, I hear the sound of Jessica's suitcase being wheeled down the stairs. I look up, and there she is, her face pale and tired. Her eyes meet mine, and for a moment, there's a flicker of the person I once knew. But the sadness and resignation in her gaze are unmistakable. I'm leaving, she says quietly, her voice almost breaking. I'm going to Alex. I stare at her, unable to comprehend the finality of her words. You're leaving? Just like that? Jessica nods, tears streaming down her face. I can't stay here, Michael. I've made my choice and I need to be with him. I'm so sorry for everything. Her words feel like a punch to the gut. I get up from the table, my legs unsteady. How can you do this? After everything we've been through? I know it's sudden, she says, her voice trembling. But it's what I need to do. I can't continue living a lie. I need to be honest with myself and with you. The finality of her decision hits me hard. I look around our home, the place where we built our life together, and it feels foreign and cold. The memories of our shared moments, the laughter, the love, the plans for the future, seem distant and unreachable. Jessica, I say, trying to hold back the tears. What about us? What about everything we had? She shakes her head, unable to offer any solace. I don't know what to say, Michael. I never wanted to hurt you. I can't stay here anymore. As she turns to leave, I feel a profound sense of loss. The woman I thought I knew, the person I trusted with my heart and my life, is walking out the door. The room feels emptier with each step she takes, and the silence that follows is deafening. I watch her drive away, the sight of her car disappearing down the street. The reality of the situation begins to sink in, and I'm left standing there, feeling abandoned and hollow. The betrayal feels like a heavy weight on my chest, suffocating me. The days that follow are a blur of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. I try to make sense of everything, but the pain is overwhelming. I find myself wandering through our home, unable to escape the reminders of what once was. Every corner, every object, seems to carry the weight of our shattered dreams. I reach out to friends and family, seeking comfort and understanding, but the void left by Jessica's departure is vast and deep. The emptiness I feel is both physical and emotional, and I struggle to find a sense of normalcy in the wreckage of my life. As I sit alone in the evenings, the quiet is both a relief and a torment. I replay memories of happier times, trying to reconcile the person I loved with the person who chose to leave. The betrayal cuts deep, and the trust that once bound us is now irreparably broken. In the end of our relationship leaves me feeling not only betrayed, but profoundly alone. The journey ahead is uncertain, and the path to healing feels daunting. I know I need to find a way to move forward, but for now, I'm left to navigate the heartache and confusion of a love that has come to an end. In the wake of Jessica's departure, I find myself enveloped in a haze of grief and disbelief. The days blend as I attempt to come to terms with the end of our relationship. In the quiet solitude of my empty home, I begin a painful journey of self-reflection, trying to piece together the fragments of what went wrong. I start by revisiting our past, sifting through memories and moments that now feel tainted. I think back to when we first met, the early days filled with excitement and promise. We were so in love, so full of dreams and plans for the future. What changed? Where did it all go wrong? I remember our conversations about art and how Jessica would light up when she spoke about her passions. I supported her every step of the way, always encouraging her to pursue her interests. But as time went on, I noticed subtle shifts in our interactions. We began to drift apart, and I didn't see it happening until it was too late. The cracks in our relationship, once minor and easily overlooked, have now become glaring. I think about the times I was preoccupied with work when I came home late and was too tired to engage with her. I remember moments when I failed to notice her changing moods or the distance growing between us. Could my negligence have driven her into Alex's arms? I recall the conversations we had about our future, the plans we made, and the dreams we shared. Yet, as I reflect, I realize there were gaps, unspoken issues, and unaddressed concerns. We had grown comfortable, perhaps complacent, in our routines. Did I take her for granted, assuming that our love would always remain strong without putting in the effort to nurture it? Jessica's passion for art, which once brought us closer, now feels like a wedge between us. I remember her excitement about the exhibition and the way she would talk about Alex with such enthusiasm. Was I too dismissive, failing to appreciate the depth of her feelings or the significance of her new relationships? Did I inadvertently push her away by not engaging with her interest more deeply? As I analyze our relationship, I also confront my shortcomings. I think about how I responded to her needs and how I may have been distant or preoccupied. I realize that I wasn't always the attentive partner I thought I was. My insecurities and fears may have contributed to the growing divide between us. I spend hours poring over old messages, letters, and photographs, searching for signs that I missed. Each revelation feels like a stab to the heart. The realization that I could have done more and been more present is both a heavy burden and a painful lesson. Amid this reflection, I grapple with a profound sense of regret. I wish I had been more proactive in addressing the issues that arose and more attentive to Jessica's changing needs. But the past cannot be altered, and I am left with the sobering reality of our broken relationship. The period of reflection is a harsh teacher, offering no easy answers or quick fixes. It forces me to confront uncomfortable truths about myself and our relationship. I am left to navigate a complex emotional landscape, understanding that while Jessica's departure is a significant loss, it is also an opportunity for growth and self-awareness. I begin to focus on rebuilding my life, seeking therapy to help process the pain and gain clarity. I understand that healing will take time, and that I need to learn from this experience to avoid repeating the same mistakes. The journey ahead is uncertain, but I am committed to facing it with honesty and resilience, hoping to emerge stronger and wiser from this period of deep introspection. In the aftermath of Jessica's departure, I feel adrift, struggling to find my footing amid heartbreak and confusion. The days endlessly, and the silence of my home is a constant reminder of the loss. It's during this period of intense emotional turmoil that the support of my friends and family becomes a lifeline, helping me navigate the overwhelming waves of grief. John, in particular, steps up as a pillar of support. His presence is a steadying force, offering both practical help and emotional comfort. I remember one afternoon when he showed up at my doorstep unannounced, a concerned expression on his face. In his hands, he carries a large box of takeout food and a few bottles of beer. Simple but thoughtful gestures that immediately lift my spirits. "Thought you could use some company," he says with a reassuring smile as he walks into the living room. "And I brought your favorite, Chinese food." I sit down, feeling a mixture of gratitude and sadness. As we eat, John listens patiently as I recount the details of the past weeks. His responses are thoughtful and never dismissive. He shares his own stories of loss and heartbreak, reminding me that while my pain is unique, it's also something many people understand. "Everyone goes through tough times, Michael," he says, his voice steady. "It's okay to feel lost and broken, but you've got to take things one day at a time. You're not alone in this." John's words resonate with me, offering a semblance of comfort. He encourages me to get out of the house, to try to reclaim a sense of normalcy. One evening, he suggests we go for a walk in the park, a simple outing that feels both daunting and refreshing. "Fresh air might do you some good," John says as we stroll through the park, the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant laughter of children providing a soothing backdrop. During our walk, we talk about everything and nothing. John shares updates about his own life, his work, and his family. The conversation is light, a welcome distraction from the heaviness of my thoughts. For a brief moment, I find myself smiling, enjoying the simple pleasure of companionship. As the weeks go by, John continues to support me in practical ways. He helps me organize my home, suggesting ways to declutter and make the space feel less oppressive. He introduces me to new activities, like joining a local book club and attending a weekend workshop on creative writing. These activities, though initially daunting, become a source of solace and a way to slowly rebuild a sense of purpose. John also helps me reconnect with other friends and family members, encouraging me to lean on them for support. I find myself reaching out to old friends, sharing my experiences, and accepting their offers of help. Their encouragement and understanding provide a crucial counterbalance to the isolation I felt during the early days of my grief. Despite the support from others, the journey to recovery is gradual and uneven. There are days when the pain feels insurmountable, and I struggle to find meaning in the aftermath of Jessica's departure. However, the consistent presence of John and the broader network of friends and family offers a steady reminder that healing is possible, even when it feels distant. John's unwavering support, combined with the kindness of others, helps me slowly rediscover a sense of normalcy. It's through their encouragement and companionship that I begin to see a glimmer of hope, a possibility of moving forward. The road to healing is long, but with the support of those who care about me, I take the first tentative steps toward rebuilding my life. As the weeks turn into months, I begin to emerge from the haze of grief that has enveloped me since Jessica's departure. The initial shock and pain are slowly giving way to a sense of clarity and determination. With the unwavering support of friends and the slow acceptance of the new reality, I find the strength to move forward and rebuild my life. The first step in this journey is rediscovering my sense of purpose. I realize that I need to refocus on my work and hobbies, things that once brought me joy and fulfillment, but had been overshadowed by the turbulence of my personal life. I make a conscious decision to channel my energy into these aspects, using them as a means to reclaim a sense of normalcy and direction. At work, I throw myself into my projects with renewed vigor. My colleagues noticed the change in me, my focus and productivity improved, and I started to take on new challenges with a sense of enthusiasm I hadn't felt in a long time. The work becomes a refuge, a place where I can immerse myself in tasks and goals, finding satisfaction in my accomplishments. I also set new professional objectives, pushing myself to grow and develop in ways I hadn't considered before. Outside of work, I turned my attention to my hobbies, which had long been relegated to the background. I started attending a local photography class, an interest I had always wanted to explore but never had the time for. The creative process of capturing moments through the lens offers me a fresh perspective and a therapeutic outlet for my emotions. Each click of the camera feels like a step toward healing, a way to express and process my feelings. Additionally, I joined a community group focused on creative writing, something I had been hesitant to try before. The group provides not only a platform to develop my writing skills but also a supportive network of people who share similar interests. The interactions and feedback from fellow writers are invigorating, helping me to rediscover my voice and gain confidence in my abilities. Physical activity also becomes an important part of my routine. I started jogging regularly in the park where I once walked with John. The rhythm of my steps and the fresh air become a source of solace, a way to clear my mind and regain a sense of physical and emotional well-being. I also explore other fitness activities such as yoga, which helps me to manage stress and find balance in my life. As I engage more deeply with these activities, I notice a gradual shift in my outlook. The initial feelings of emptiness and loss begin to be replaced by a growing sense of self-discovery and renewal. I start to enjoy the process of setting and achieving new goals, and the small victories in my personal and professional life begin to accumulate. Socially, I reconnect with old friends and make new ones through my hobbies and community involvement. The interactions become a vital part of my healing process, offering companionship and shared experiences that help to fill the void left by Jessica's absence. I find myself laughing, enjoying life's simple pleasures, and embracing opportunities for new experiences. Though the road to full recovery is still ongoing, I take comfort in the progress I've made. The pain of the past remains a part of me, but it no longer defines my entire existence. Instead, I am learning to live with it, using it as a catalyst for personal growth and positive change. The new life I am building is not without its challenges, but it is also filled with hope and potential. By focusing on my work, hobbies, and relationships, I am forging a path forward, one that allows me to honor the past while embracing the future. With each passing day, I continue to grow stronger, more resilient, and more open to the possibilities that lie ahead. Several months into my journey of rebuilding and rediscovery, I find myself settling into a new rhythm of life. My work is fulfilling, my hobbies are enriching, and my social connections are growing stronger. The pain of the past, while still present, has become a part of the backdrop rather than the center stage of my existence. One crisp autumn afternoon, as I'm walking through a local art fair, I come across a booth showcasing some impressive pieces of artwork. As I'm admiring the exhibits, I feel a sudden, unexpected pang of recognition. I turn, and to my utter disbelief, see Jessica standing there, looking more nervous and uncertain than I've ever seen her. My heart skips a beat, and for a moment, I'm unsure how to react. It has been months since we last spoke, and the sight of her brings a rush of conflicting emotions. I take a deep breath and approach her, trying to steady my nerves. "Jessica?" I say, my voice tinged with surprise and caution. She turns to face me, her eyes wide with a mix of apprehension and hope. "Michael, I didn't expect to run into you here." We stand in awkward silence for a moment before she speaks again. "I've been trying to find the right time to talk to you. I know I owe you an explanation, and I wanted to apologize for everything." Her words hit me like a tidal wave. I feel a surge of emotions, anger, sadness, confusion, all bubbling to the surface. "Jessica, why are you here? What do you want?" She takes a deep breath, her gaze dropping to the ground before meeting my eyes again. "I've been thinking a lot about everything that happened. I know that I hurt you deeply, and I'm truly sorry. I've had time to reflect, and I realize now just how much I've wronged you." I take a step back, trying to process her apology. "You left without any explanation, without a word. You were with Alex, and now you want to come back and apologize?" Jessica nods, her eyes welling with tears. "I know it sounds unbelievable, and I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just needed to tell you how sorry I am. My relationship with Alex didn't work out. I've been trying to make sense of everything, and I realize now that I made a terrible mistake." The shock of her words leaves me momentarily speechless. So you're saying that your relationship with Alex is over? And now you want to make amends? Jessica nods again, her voice trembling. Yes. I realize now how much I lost by not valuing what we had. I've been struggling with my regrets, and I wanted to reach out to you, not to ask for anything, but to express my sincere apologies. Her words are heavy with emotion, and I can see the genuine remorse in her eyes. Still, I find it hard to reconcile this version of Jessica with the one who left so abruptly. Jessica, it's not that simple. You hurt me in ways I can't even begin to explain. I've been working hard to rebuild my life, and seeing you now, it's confusing. She nods, wiping away a tear. I understand. I don't expect things to go back to how they were. I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry, and that I regret how everything ended. I hope that someday we can find some closure. Her words hang in the air, and I feel a deep sense of weariness. The pain of the past is still fresh, and her sudden reappearance is a jarring reminder of everything I've been trying to move past. I don't know what to say, I finally reply. This is a lot to process. I need time to think about everything. Jessica nods, her expression a mix of understanding and sorrow. Of course. Take all the time you need. I just wanted to make sure you knew how I felt. With that, she turns and walks away, leaving me standing there amidst the art fair, a whirlwind of emotions swirling around me. Her apology, while heartfelt, does little to erase the pain and betrayal of the past. Yet, as I watch her leave, I realize that her visit has given me something to consider, a chance for closure, perhaps, or at least an opportunity to reflect on how far I've come. As I continue to walk through the art fair, I grapple with the complex emotions stirred by this unexpected encounter. The journey of healing is ongoing, and Jessica's appearance is a reminder that the path to closure is often winding and unpredictable. Standing amidst the vibrant colors of the art fair, I feel a profound sense of disorientation. Jessica's unexpected reappearance and heartfelt apology have thrown my world into a state of uncertainty. As I walk away from the booth where we spoke, the cacophony of the fair fades into the background, replaced by the weight of the decision that now looms over me. The days following our encounter are filled with restless contemplation. I replay our conversation in my mind, the sincerity in Jessica's voice, and the deep sense of regret that she expressed. It's clear that she has been grappling with her own mistakes and is seeking some form of reconciliation. Yet the emotional turmoil of the past is still fresh, and the scars she left behind are not easily forgotten. I find myself torn between two conflicting paths. On one hand, there is the possibility of forgiveness, a chance to reconcile with Jessica and explore whether we might rebuild our relationship. On the other hand, there is the compelling desire to move forward, to continue on the path of personal growth and self-discovery that I've begun since her departure. To forgive Jessica and attempt to start anew would mean opening myself up to the complexities of our past relationship. It would involve confronting old wounds and deciding whether the potential for a renewed connection outweighs the pain of previous betrayals. The idea of giving our relationship another chance is appealing, yet fraught with the risk of repeating the same mistakes. I imagine what it might be like to rekindle our connection. Would the foundation of our past be strong enough to support a new beginning? Could we address the issues that led to our separation and build something lasting and meaningful? The thought of rekindling the familiarity and comfort of our shared history has its allure, but it also raises questions about whether the relationship could truly be transformed. On the other hand, choosing to move on and leave the past behind is a path that offers its form of liberation. It represents the opportunity to fully embrace the new life I've been building, one defined by personal growth, new experiences, and newfound independence. It means continuing the journey of healing without the complications of reopening old wounds. The prospect of moving forward is both daunting and exhilarating. It means stepping into an unknown future without the comfort of past relationships. It requires a leap of faith, trusting in the possibilities that lie ahead, and embracing the new opportunities that come my way. The freedom to shape my path, unencumbered by the past, is an empowering thought. As I wrestle with these choices, I seek counsel from friends and reflect on my own needs and desires. Their perspectives are invaluable, offering both encouragement and pragmatic advice. I consider the lessons learned from my experiences and the importance of prioritizing my well-being and happiness. Ultimately, the decision is deeply personal and complex. It involves not only weighing the potential for reconciliation with Jessica, but also assessing my readiness for such a step and the potential impact on my future. The open-ended nature of this choice leaves me at a crossroads, with each path holding its promises and uncertainties. In the quiet moments of reflection, I realize that the decision may not be entirely black and white. It could be that the answer lies in finding a balance between forgiveness and moving on, a way to honor the past while continuing to forge my path. Whether I choose to reconnect with Jessica or embrace a new chapter in my life, the journey ahead will be shaped by the choices I make and the lessons I've learned. As I stand at this pivotal moment, I acknowledge the complexity of the situation and the need for patience with myself. Whatever choice I make, I know it will be a step toward defining my future, one that reflects both the pain of the past and the hope for what lies ahead.